One of the messages coming from Doge is the idea that we should reduce the size of the federal government, including the number of federal employees. I seem to recall some years ago, I had looked into the question of, just how many federal employees there are. And I was surprised by the fact that, in fact, the number of federal contractors, meaning they're actually not government employees, but they have contracts with the federal government. And I don't want to put a number on this because it's been a while, but there were like vastly more federal contractors than there were actual employees. So the notion of downsizing the government, if you're focused solely on federal employees, I mean, one, it seems to me you might sort of miss the forest for the trees. And then second of all, if you have all these federal contractors and there's nobody there to manage them or oversee them or supervise them or coordinate with them, I mean, how would that work out, and would that be problematic?
It certainly could be. I mean, you're absolutely right that large quantities of what the federal government actually does do involve federal contractors and federal contractors of all kinds, from, people who help manage buildings and federal facilities, all the way up to contracts that are, helping develop and implement policy. So lots of different types of contractors. And you're absolutely right that we could find ourselves in a world where, as we reduce the number of federal civil servants, this is another thing that some folks in President Trump's orbit have floated, and that actually the Trump administration sort of did an initial foray into at the end of the first Trump administration, which is something known as Schedule F, which would take what are currently civil service positions and convert some of them to political appointments, and this would potentially have the effect of, firing the folks who currently have the jobs. So really would undercut the ability of kind of expert civil servants to do lots of things, including oversee the kind of contractors that you're talking about.